Hey guys, check this out. I can stand up and control my trolling motor on my kayak. I love this setup. I'm going to show you what it can do, and then I'm going to show you how I built it. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. My kayak has evolved a lot over like the last year and a half since I bought it. And most of it comes out of pain and discomfort and things not going quite the way you want. And I'm sure it'll continue to change as I find new things that I want to change. But I mean, it's come this far to where I can stand up and I can cruise around. I'm able to pitch to the bank or to pockets and things that I want. And it's actually a pretty easy system. I'll show you here in a second how I set it up. But all I've got to do is pull one way to turn right, and then I push to turn left. Super, super easy. I've got a dial that controls my speed with a PWM box. And I've got a forward, neutral, and reverse switch, so I can control everything. And this kayak is very stable. I'm very comfortable sitting on it. It's almost like having a mini bass boat, guys. This is awesome. Another thing that I did though too was I can still control it from sitting here like this too. I mean, it's pretty easy. But if I really don't want to use my armrest here to control it, I designed it so that I could also drop this puppy down, put my feet over it like this, and I can still control it from down here. But honestly, when I was thinking that through, I thought it would be really helpful. I guess I can get it out of my way if I want to sit, so I can still pitch to this side, which that is helpful. But as far as like ease of controls, it's just as easy to control it. And I got a little armrest up here too, so that's pretty cool. Enough of me talking about what it can do. Let's show you how I built this thing. Now I have the 12'3" shadow caster made by Field & Stream. Some of these things I designed because of just how my kayak is set up. So you may have to adjust some things to work for your specific kayak, but the concept should be the same. So, and I'm sure you guys will be able to find all kinds of ways to improve my design, because I'm more like a redneck that I take the materials around me and I make them work. And so I'm sure you guys can do a way more professional job and figure out way better ways to do things. That's awesome. And if you have better ideas on how to improve my design, feel free to share them in the comments below, because it might help someone who's trying to do a project of their own. So you see back here this rod holder. This rod holder used to be a side-mounted trolling motor design. And I had a board off the back of this here that I had my trolling motor mounted on the side, and it worked. It just wasn't very convenient, and it was really hard to control. I just didn't like the tracking very well, so my mind went to work on how to fix that. But I liked how many rods it held, so I kept this as just a rod mount, because it used to hold one here, which I've changed, but it holds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it used to hold 6, but I stole that T for this right here. But I can get another one and have a whole nother rod mount on that side too. Guys, it's basically just a bunch of PVC, a bunch of T's and crosses going all the way across with little pieces of PVC in between. It's a super simple design. Now, in order to get this to fit in your original rod holders, you do have to cut slits in there so it squeezes together tight in that rod holder. And I mean, this thing's pretty tough. It's not going anywhere. It does great for holding your rods and for holding this system here. I had leftover materials from that project, which is how I made the stand-up system. Basically, all I do is I have this, this is 1¼ inch PVC pipe. I stuck it in the T on the side, which is not glued, guys. None of this system is glued. You could glue some, but I want some moving parts, so I did not glue them. So this here, you can rotate and pivot, and you can also rotate and pivot this. I also need it to be easy to remove so I can fish the river, because I do a lot of fishing in the river and you can't have a trolling motor in there. I got a PWM box, and I got one that has a built-in fan. I have burnt out 2 of these already, guys, plus another switch. You gotta have a fan that keeps it cool, otherwise it's gonna burn out. Now, I haven't run this one long enough to really determine how long it's gonna last, so, but it has done a full day of running full time and not burned out. And I felt the box and it didn't feel all that hot. Now the components inside, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have to continue using it long term to know whether or not it's gonna be a good fit. Let's go ahead and hop in the kayak here. Ooh. Now when I'm standing here, this is what the dials look like. This is your speed and your on and off. So you're able to dial in how much power and energy you want going through, and that little screen there tells you how much electricity is going through your PWM to your motor. Now this is a forward and neutral and a reverse switch, and this dial just tells you, or that's how you choose your speed. Super easy, guys. Super easy. So what I had to do to get this installed, this one was easy. It was just drilling a hole. This one I had to actually use a knife and heat it up and melt the square to install that, and same with this one, I had to melt it. And this is just a little bit of duct seal to make it waterproof right there, so water's not getting down in those components. On the bottom of this down here, all the wires run up inside of the PVC pipe there to each of these components, and then I just used a little bit of Gorilla Tape to tape the PWM box there. Again, guys, there's way better ways to do it than what I'm doing it, but I'm a simple guy, and so this works out pretty good for me. I don't mind a little bit of duct tape and JB weld and tie wire and stuff in my designs. It just, if it's functional, it works great. That's good enough for me. One thing I did find out though, this T here is an awesome rod holder, and it has come in very handy when I'm like taking fish off of hooks. I can just set it there, or when I'm tying on something new, I can just set it in there, and it's an awesome rod holder as well. Now, to the battery. So this is my battery box. It sits right behind the seat. I did that to distribute the weight a little bit. If I had it on the back, I'd be really back heavy with the motor. I have a couple of alligator clips here. Now I used SAE 10 gauge wire connectors. And guys, I'm gonna tell you a little tip. When you are wiring up your SAE cables, be sure to wire them so that you can go direct to battery to trolling motor. I have burnt out 2 PWM boxes and a switch. So I was stranded out in the middle and would have to paddle off like a mile and a half back. Now you can do that, but it saves your bacon being able to go direct from battery to motor if something does happen to your PWM box or switch. That way you can still get back with using your battery and your motor. Now, the steering of this puppy here. I have my trolling motor back here, and I used a little bit of JB weld and a C-clamp on this hardwood here, and basically I just drilled a hole through, have a string. I wanted a little bit of flexibility on that because I lift this up as well, and I needed the flexibility. So it's just a little carabiner that hooks to this paracord here, and a piece of PVC pipe that runs up and along through a little piece of tie wire that I just, you know, Gorilla Tape there. And then this is what I use to steer the trolling motor. It's super simple, a super simple design, yet it is super effective, guys. I love it. One of the problems that I ran into with the side mount was bringing up the motor when you're trying to land your boat at the end of the day. It was so heavy on the side here, guys, that it would like try and pop out the side mounts, and it would bend a whole lot of stuff. It just wasn't a really good design there. But with this one, I was able to come up with a very simple solution to be able to get my trolling motor up when I'm landing my boat. So all I did was tie a knot to this release clamp here, and I have this knot here to help me pull my motor up from the other side. Let's demonstrate it. Okay guys, it's the end of the day. I'm coming in full speed. I'm getting to where I need to get my motor up off the ground. I just reach back, pull that up, and then I can pull my motor all the way up out of the water. I know it's safe. Now, part of the PVC design was so that it would bend and not break. That allows me to pull that thing all the way up and sit there. It bends just right, holds everything in place without breaking. There's no problems with me pulling that out of the water while I'm coming in quick. So at the reverse of that, when I launch in the morning, same concept. The motor is up. I've just loosened everything up so it'll drop. But all I gotta do is pull that and it drops down. Everything's good to go and get to fishing. Now I do carry quite a bit of gear with me. I've got several rods. I got my basket here. My basket's super simple, but then sometimes I also, there's a couple of places I go that I don't have a boat ramp, and so I need my wheels, and my wheels do fit on here. I don't like to take them because it's just unnecessary space and weight, but they do fit on here if I don't have any other choice. I'm still able to fit those and get to and from the water with all that hefty weight of the battery and the motor and all that stuff. So the way that I have my trolling motor mounted now is kind of specific to my particular kayak. So if this mounting technique doesn't work for you, you may need to find another video where you have to install a different kind of mount. But as far as the steering and the stand-up system, you should be able to create a system with any type of kayak for that. So basically all I did is I designed a piece of wood that would fit in this handle and a bigger piece of wood up on top here, and then I have just a little 2x4 on the bottom that I kind of sanded down to fit in there a little bit better. And then I have a nice big bolt that was actually from my side mount design, nice big bolt going all the way through there to just clamp it together, and it works great. It's an awesome system, very sturdy and reliable. Now I do always keep my paddle with me too, just in case something does happen or my battery dies, which has happened. So always make sure you have your paddle even though you have a motor. I have my fish finder, and you guys, I will have in the description down below, I'll have make and models of all the stuff that I'm using. Now the way I've set up my fish finder is through one of the scupper holes here. I got some PVC pipe, a PVC pipe adapter. I believe this was 1 inch. Yeah, it's a 1 inch adapter to 3/4 threaded. I took a sprinkler riser, a threaded sprinkler riser, and went up through the other side and connected that to my transducer. So my transducer is hanging out right here on the bottom of the kayak, right in between the different pontoons. It works great. You can tell it's been beat up a little bit. I have hit a couple of rocks, so but yeah, it's just connected to that riser. It comes down and connects to my transducer there. Now, I do have an anchor trolley on this puppy too, which allows me to drop anchor and move and adjust where my anchor sits, which is awesome for the river. I do a lot of fishing in the river, and so it allows me to drop anchor. Now, one of the improvements I made to this is I used to have like a carabiner that I would connect it to this little triangle here. But now all I do is I chuck my anchor out like that, and I just move this however I want, whichever angle, and it slides through there. And then what I do is I take, this has a little cleat thing, so you just go through those a couple of times and your anchor won't move. And then I also do the same with my anchor rope there to keep it from moving. So just a simpler way to do your anchor trolley. If you're gonna fish in rivers and even lakes, guys, it is important to have an anchor. The anchor trolley just helps you to position yourself way better. So I would totally recommend it if you don't have one on your kayak. All right, guys, this design is actually super crazy simple, and I love it. It makes a big difference being able to stand and pitch to the pockets, and for the hook sets and stuff, so much more confident in my hook sets when I'm standing, and the angles you're able to pitch up under stuff so much better when you're standing. And this system allows me to do that, and it is amazing. Now, I have tested it already, a full day on the water test. If you want to check out that fishing trip, you can do so right here. And as always, guys, remember to get out and live. Peace.